Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call this meeting to order. If you will stand with me for a moment of silence, and then we'll do the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. We need a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Madam Chair, may
Yes,
I
sir.
interrupt? Mayor Welch will not be in attendance this evening, and so let the record show it will be a 4-0 vote, a 4 vote going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve our agenda as printed. Are there any citizens' comments? Just press. There's a little button to press. And these are comments regarding the agenda, okay? It's down on.
There we go. Can you restart this? Good evening. My name is Samantha King. I submitted my application for the planning and zoning board membership, and the deadline was November 14th. I submitted it on the 13th, and I got it stamped as received. And I believe that deciding on that should have been on the agenda today, but it was not. From my understanding, I did not hear this, but it has been reopened to allow for other applicants. And I do not agree. I think that based off of what was put out, I should have been able to come and speak to you guys tonight about why I should be a good candidate for that position. And I would like to address that before the December 8th meeting. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. King.
Good morning, or good morning. Woof. Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I see we have someone sitting in for Mr. Walker. Perhaps it would be good to have that person introduce herself so we know who is sitting in that seat. My name's Tamara Robbins. I agree with Ms. King on her schedule is correct. There was 2 advertisements it was published properly 2 weeks separately for one opening on the Planning and Zoning Board when Ms. Sloan resigned. So Ms. King filed her application by the deadline, and with all expectation, she would be appointed at the next opportunity that you would have to appoint someone to fill that open seat, which was one open seat at the deadline of when she satisfied the deadline and filled out an application and submitted it. So I don't understand why it's not on the agenda tonight. So then the following Monday, another member resigned. So the city takes it upon itself to re-advertise and open it up for 2 seats. Well, that's disingenuous, and it's just not right. It's not the rules. So my suggestion is you put that on tonight's board, one applicant. You got one application who satisfied that require that advertisement. She's here. Appoint a member to the board to fill the seat of which she applied to fill. It's that simple. It's a really important board. The sooner members get appointed to it and begin to do their work of learning all of the details that are required of that board to make the very important decisions and recommendations they do, the better for this community. So I encourage you to put it on the agenda and appoint the member that's sitting here. Also, something else, again, that is not on the agenda is the live streaming issue. Y'all remember you voted unanimously on June 23rd to direct the city manager to bring back options. City manager has responded with, it's not on the strategic plan, he'll get around to it, and that he's going to bring back an RFP. The motion was for the city manager to bring back options, not direct him to create an RFP. It was to bring back options. So why the city manager does not believe that his charter requirement of taking directives from the city commission is not, he doesn't seem to think that's a priority. I think you all should. And it's time to just stop the game playing, right? He works for you. You work for us. You directed him to fulfill a task. Fulfill yours. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, I do have some questions for the city manager. Why, I guess the question is, why was it switched if it was publicly noticed for today regarding the appointment process for the PZB?
We'll have the deputy city clerk provide further details on that topic.
Good evening, JS. I'm Leanne Williams, Deputy City Clerk. That was never scheduled for a meeting. I do recall at the last appointment time, there were questions about how the process. And in those questions, I said, it is not scheduled for a meeting. There are we try to set for a deadline. I also said at that meeting that if we don't get applications, we move the dates and we re-advertise. Now, we did this for 2 appointments that came available. The director of planning and I sat and talked about it, and we decided that this would be prudent. It would be better for the commission to not have to deal with 2 times that we come with this, but with 1 time. And we re-advertised, and that is perfectly within our right to do so. We have done nothing wrong. I don't like that insinuation.
Anything else?
Vice Mayor, so my understanding is that the deputy clerk, along with city staff planning, determines the process for accepting of applicants for the PZB. Is that correct?
I don't understand the question. What do you mean by that?
So we had applicants. There was a public notice regarding the deadline for that. When we reached that deadline, there was a step that happened after where we said, okay, we didn't get enough applicants.
Well, that wasn't the case this time. This time the case was we had another person resign, and we decided rather than moving forward with an appointment before the commission, let's re-advertise, let's get it over with all in one fell swoop.
Okay, and so that was a direction you took upon yourself along with the planning director?
Every time I have an appointment.
Okay. To me, that seems like we're disenfranchising applicants if we receive it and they're under the expectation of, okay.
They're under no expectation.
There's
no expectation that we're going to have it at a certain meeting.
There's a public deadline for these applications.
We have extended the deadline many times in the years that I've been here.
Do we have any policies or procedures regarding how the city operates with this, or like a standard we hold ourselves to?
I just explained it to you.
Right. Do we have it written down anywhere?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Is there any other questions of me?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
If there's nothing else, we're ready for the vote. Commissioner Fletcher,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Ringerson.
Aye.
I vote aye. The agenda is approved. We need a motion to approve the reading of proposed ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the reading of proposed ordinances and resolutions by title only. All in favor, let it be known by aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you. Special presentations. Growing greatness to help close the achievement gap in Alachua County. Mrs. Williams is coming.
Good evening, Ms. Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and City Attorney. I am Leanne Williams, Deputy City Clerk. Gainesville for All, Inc. is a nonprofit created to address persistent equality and poverty-related problems. James Lawrence, President and CEO, and Elizabeth Woods, Executive Director, are here to present their mission to the Commission. The recommended action is to receive the presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
We're really pleased to be in front of you this evening and to present to you a story that a lot of people aren't aware of, that we over at the Gainesville Empowerment Zone Family Learning Center, we are growing greatness. But before I get into that, I want to give a special shout out to the Vice Mayor and Commissioner Brown, who visited our facility this past summer and saw in action that we're growing greatness. And we're starting at ages 6 weeks old to 5. We're preparing them for kindergarten, getting them ready. As Ms. Williams said, I'm the CEO and president of Gainesville for All. And joining me this evening is Ms. Woods, who is our executive director. You're going to hear more from her in just a few minutes, but I want to kind of paint the picture for you as to what it is that we're all about. Yes, you heard the summary, but you need to hear the genesis of how we got to where we are. And that really stemmed from the fact, a little bit about myself. I'm a retired journalist of more than 50 years. I wrote a column most recently for the Gainesville Sun for about 3 or 4 years after my retirement, and entering into this new phase of my life to really get into the weeds. Being a reporter and being a city editor and being an editorial page editor, I can tell you that there's a huge difference between what it is that I'm doing now and what I did then. I sat back behind the computer and we thought we wrote some pretty good editorials. But the reality is the work that we're doing now is vastly different. And it's work that I've come to love because we have the opportunity to really change the dynamics that's going on. And what's happening in this county is no different than what's happening where I worked in Rochester, New York, or any other place that I've lived around the country, especially in urban school districts. Our children are not succeeding. They're not succeeding. The third grade rating level is abysmal. We have to do something about it. And yes, the school board is doing something, and we decided that we want to pitch in to help that situation. So thus, Gainesville for All was founded in 2016, almost 10 years now, that we brought the community together to really look at issues, problems that are related to poverty and inequities in this community. One of the biggest areas that we looked at was education. And we had more people show up for that committee meeting than almost any of the others. And we had about 5 other committees as well. So thus from that sprang the whole notion of early learning, which has been around for quite some time. But the reality is that we haven't been as diligent as we should be to help those who need help the most. So high quality early learning simply is not available as much as it should be in the places where it's needed most. And we're here to try to change that. With the help of the school board, we have been able to move forward, and we're now in our 3rd academic school year of helping to grow greatness. I went over my time limit. It was 3 minutes. We're gonna have to listen to Miss Elizabeth, as we call her, who comes to us well prepared in head and in heart. She is someone who knows the agony of poverty. She is also someone with a great deal of experience, having been the chief operating officer for a well-known privately owned chain of preschools in the Jacksonville area, Primrose Schools. You might look them up. They were voted #1 in the nation by Newsweek magazine. Miss Elizabeth.
All right, as Mr. Lawrence said, this is very near and dear to my heart because, I had a teacher who paid attention to me. So it's very personal, and I'm extremely excited to be able to join this team with Gainesville for All. So very, very thankful. Thank you so much, you guys, for listening to us and letting us present what we are doing at Gainesville Empowerment Zone Family Learning Center. So we truly appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to do that. That being said, how does the clicker work?
Normally, you have some assistance in the back. There you go.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, like James said, I've been in this field for 22 years. 22 years. I have a 21-year-old almost at UF currently. We made it. So that's a good thing. But it's been a true pleasure. I started this journey in high school, and I've progressively gotten more and more and more. So being able to come on from my last tenure at that private school, I've been able to help enhance what Gainesville for All is already doing. So what makes our center truly different is our holistic approach. And that being said, we are not just educating the students, which all of our teachers are very much certified. They are competent educators for these teachers. We do strive to encourage the teachers to continue their education as well too. So we are giving out, different ideas on the teacher scholarship and things like that. We want them to continue to better themselves and to learn more with the Lassenger Learning Program as well too. So we have a lot of things that we do with our employees. We do hands-on training as well with ELC. They've helped us out quite a lot as well. And we have a lot of different workshops. But the holistic approach is our parents, our families. We truly believe if we are able to get to our families as early as birth, when everything is all new and they're excited and they want to be engaged and they want all these fun things, that is where it's going to continue to stick as they continue through our program and as they continue into the elementary school and so forth. So being able to actually hone in on them and capture them at birth is extremely important. Sorry, I lost my part. I lost my train of thought. I apologize. Like I was explaining, though, it is the environment is an inclusive environment. So our families are very much encouraged to come into our school. We have partnered with a lot of different things as well too, with the OBGYN clinic that comes onto the campus. We are doing reading pals. We're doing Gainesville Thrives. She comes in and do literacy night with our families and everything like that. So we are looking at partnering with multiple companies outside of Gainesville to actually help enhance these families and these teachers and children. All right, so numbers. Let's get down to the number part. So 90% of our students, our graduating pre-kindergarten class last year, showed gain from the beginning of the school year to the very end of the school year. However, every single one of them, 100% of our students were kindergarten ready. So whenever they graduated our program, the STAR literacy exam that we have to give to our students, they were deemed kindergarten ready to be able to progress or to continue. 94% of our families felt empowered by what we are doing at the school. They actually said that, they said we are empowering them by giving them the tools and the resources that they need to help themselves. We're not just doing it for them. We have a family engagement specialist on the premises, which is an amazing thing. You don't always have that in early childhood, so it's really great. But she's there to counsel them, give them those tools that their parents need, and actually help them and guide them in things that they would need in their personal lives. So it's a lot of trust that goes on both sides. All right. Our model blends education with empowerment. It's not just a school, it's a movement for family success and growing greatness that will impact the community for a lifetime. So it's not just for a year. It's not just for 5 years. It's a lifetime that we are trying to impact these students and these families. It is so important that whenever they graduate our program, they are impacted and they are ready to go into that world. So don't just listen to my voice. We do have some of our teachers and some of our families that did make a quick memo for you guys so that way you can hear from them how it does impact them on a daily basis. Our first one is going to be Miss Danita, our infant teacher. Can we click it? How does it go? Ooh, that wasn't it. I don't know how it works.
Should it be a video?
It's just the speaker at the top.
Mrs. Williams.
You just click the speaker at the top. There you go. Oh, there's no volume. Oh, she needs me. I'm sorry. Sorry, you guys. Glitch in the bottom. And she wasn't calling for me. She was calling for someone else. So unfortunately, you're not able to hear the voices that are being told, but it is an impactful statement from two of our family members that they have been with us since the beginning in 2023, and they're still with us. And why they are still with us is because we do offer that safety, that education for their kids, and that empowerment that they're looking for as well too. All right. Alachua already has the heart and leadership. It just needs a proven framework to expand family opportunity. This is where our model fits perfectly. We would like to, expand and offer this all over the place because it is important that we are empowering the families on top of giving the children high quality education, which is extremely important. We believe in partnerships that deliver results. Together, With Alachua's leadership, we can expand the success stories to serve even more families. Together, we can make Alachua a place where every child, every parent, and every family feels empowered to thrive. Thank you for your time. We'd love to discuss next steps. Thank you, guys. Sorry for the volume.
And if there are any questions, we'll be more than glad to respond.
Questions?
Yes. I was recently at a workshop from the school board regarding literacy rates over at Santa Fe High School. And you mentioned you guys have been partnering with, you guys have partnered with the county school board in the past. Is it, sorry, I don't remember the name of the current initiative, but is that a thing you guys are currently partnering with at the moment, or you guys are looking at partnering with?
Yes, we are. So the United Way, which does the Reading Pals, we actually work with them. They come to our school twice a week or twice a day. Twice a week. But on Tuesdays, they do come to us twice because we have a school age program that we do, and the teacher noticed that the school age students needed some more enhancing as well too. So Reading Pals comes to work with them in the afternoons as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Vice Chair, Vice Mayor. So what would you like to see the next step be?
Well, we'd like to, right from the very start, we have a strategic plan that we put together. Some top-notch educators from throughout the county came together back in 2022. And in that plan, we specifically talk about expansion. Right now, we're trying to perfect our location on the campus of Metcalf Elementary. We look into the future that we'd like to expand around the county to areas like Alachua and Newberry, and even another location, say in East Gainesville. So expansion is certainly on our radar. When we get to it, that remains to be seen. But we do want to talk to as many municipalities as possible to at least educate you guys about what it is that we have to offer. And let me add just one last thing. We would be remiss if we didn't point out one of the people who really put us on the map was this young man right over there, Mr. Mitch Glazer. He played a huge role in helping us to start up Gainesville for All back in 2016. And it was from that start that we got to where we are today. So just want to make that clear.
So in the dream, you'd be looking for potentially a location in Alachua.
Yes.
And would it be at a school?
It does
one
not
of our
necessarily
schools?
have to be at a school.
Okay.
All we're looking for is the space. That's what we did.
Okay.
It was the Alachua County School Board that opened it up to us.
Gotcha.
That was 4 superintendents ago. They said, hey, we have this location over at Metcalf. How would you like that? Boom, of course. We jumped right on it. It's a beautiful building. And anybody who would like to come over and visit, doors are open. Give us a call, or even if you're in the neighborhood, please stop by and check us out.
And my last question, I apologize, commissioners. My last question, have you also spoken before our city's educational task force?
No, we have not.
I think,
We'll be more than glad to.
Commissioner Ringerson, please speak on that if you would. Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for all you do for children. I think birth to 5 is crucial. I say it up here all the time. The brain is wired 80% by 5. So I think getting these children early is vital to everything in life.
And their families.
And their families. The whole aspect is all connected together, just like that image is on there. So we do have an education task force with the city. Our next meeting is scheduled, I believe is still scheduled for December the 1st. We do those right here in City Hall at 5:00. And those are with former teachers and people in the community that are trying to help us, in our school systems.
Okay, we'll try to get there.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
I think it would be really important for you to be there, whether you do just 3 minutes of public comment, or if you speak to our deputy city clerk and get on their agenda, either way.
Okay, we'll do that. Any other questions?
Thank you so much. I had the opportunity to visit. It's a really exceptional facility, and just to see all of the children engaged and all of the educators and instructors, they had some powerful moments with the children. That's what we need more of for our children and families. We've got to intervene when they're young. Those are the critical years. So again, thank you for accepting our opportunity to come share this with us. And it looks like we have some other interested folks who would like to hear more about it.
Okay.
So again,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay, I think we're ready for special presentation B. Is it Bernadette Fisher? Ms. Fisher.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. I am Bernadette Fisher, Principal Planner with the City Department of Planning and Community Development. I am pleased to introduce to you today a project that aligns with the strategic plan that was adopted to basically work on trails. Okay, this is a proposed multi-use community trail project to improve the quality of life for the community and to ensure comprehensive and expert guidance planning process. The city has contracted NV5 to work on this project on our behalf. And I just wanted to mention before we go any further is that we're going to have a community workshop coming up on December the 10th at 5:30. And I'm mentioning that so that the community would be aware of that. Yes, it would be here in the chambers. And I will then turn it over to our consultant.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. So, Ms. Vice Mayor and Commissioners, thank you so much for having us. So my name is Laurie Hall. I'm a landscape architect with NV5 and very excited to be here and talk about a really exciting project for the city. I should say we're a local consulting firm, and I myself am a resident of the city of Alachua, so this is one that's important to me and something that I think is really exciting for our community. Oh, there we go. Okay, so why are we talking about trails? So trails are something that are really, it's a feature that a lot of folks look for in their community. It's something that we're fortunate here in Alachua County to have access to a lot of great trails. We all know San Velasco that's here in town. There's so much great, there's such a great base here that the city of Alachua has so much potential to capitalize on providing more trails for our community. And as Ms. Fisher said, this came out of a strategic initiative.
Can I ask Ms. Williams to get the lights, please? Thank you.
Thank you. So this effort came out of a strategic initiative that looked at how can we build a comprehensive citywide trails master plan? How can we look at how we incorporate trails within our city? And so, we think this is something that really supports the spirit of the Good Life community. It supports a lot of the important initiatives around the city. So project goals. So initially, as we're looking at these are just some of the goals that we've had from working with your staff and talking to folks. But as Ms. Fisher said, we're excited to do some public workshops coming up so we can hear more from the community on what priorities they have. But what we're looking to do is enhance community connectivity. So this is really important and something that trails provide us with. How can we link important assets like downtown and Legacy Park and our schools and provide safe routes for folks to use, not only for recreation, but also for getting around town in different modes of transportation. Promoting health and wellness, supporting sustainable growth. So as we grow as a city, how can we make sure that we have things that we look at trails as infrastructure, that it's an important piece of infrastructure as we build new communities and as we look at new developments? How can we make sure that we have codes in place that might support incorporating multi-use trails with those developments? Boosting local economy and tourism. I'm sure that probably a lot of the folks here have gone in different communities and ridden on trails or walked with your family, visited different businesses that were nearby. So it's something that does impact our economy as well. Ensure equality and accessibility. So making sure that this is something that is open to all the residents of our community. As I said, it's a linkage to important areas. Also to celebrate natural and cultural assets. Certainly that is something that we have a lot of here in Alachua, and there's a lot of opportunity with this plan. So going to talk just real briefly about the process of what we're going to be doing as we look at this study, and we'll run through these. The first thing we're going to do is we're evaluating opportunities and constraints. So we're looking at the community and what are the assets that we have, what are the important things, what are the things that are really positive about our community that we want to make sure that this is linking, and then also what are the things that are going to be challenges along the way, what are things that that we need to figure out how we can overcome certain constraints. An example would be like I-75, like 441, making sure that we're providing safe crossings for important corridors like that. So one of the things that we're going to ask in our community workshops, we do this exercise of origins and destinations. So what we're asking here to the community are, where are you coming from and where do you want to go? So we're going to be asking, what are the important things in our community that we want to make sure are linked as part of this study? Where do people want to be able to travel? And so we're going to be asking those questions that we'll be asking that at the December 10th meeting. So from there, once we have those important destinations, origins and destinations, then we're going to look at corridors. So our team will then be studying how can we link those two things? What corridors, what opportunities are out there that we can link those make those desired connections. As we said here, we're going to prioritize safe crossings, look at available rights of way and existing conditions. So really try to evaluate what opportunities are there and how we can make those connections. There we go. All right, so once we've figured out what those connections look like, then we start to really dive into cross sections. So what this does is it looks at what is the available area that we have to work with and how we might incorporate a multi-use trail in that. So our first priority is always to try to have a separated multi-use trail. So something that that you would take your kids, you would feel safe. And so that's always our first priority is trying to find a way to have a separated multi-use trail. These are just some different examples, but it's everything from what you would think of a greenway, so like a trail through a vegetated area, to something that runs along our roadway corridors. And we'll be evaluating that for the corridors we identify. From there, we're going to be looking at prioritization and funding. So this is another important thing that we get from the public workshops is we want to understand what are the highest priorities. So as we're asking about those origins and destinations, what are the highest priorities? What are the things that we want to, as we give you all a kit of all of the things that are available, how can we prioritize those so that as you're looking at funding, that you have the support of this was the most important thing from the community. With this also, we'll be providing cost projections. So we'll be taking those corridors, breaking them down, kind of what we've talked about is in bite-sized pieces. So identify what is a project, what is something that can be built, and present you all then with these different projects with some prioritization and some numbers attached to it so that you guys in the future can make some decisions. We'll also be looking at other funding sources to also try to identify some grants opportunities or other things the city might be able to do. One of the things we like to do here is to not only look at prioritization on what we feel is the most important, but sometimes it's also really good to look at prioritization on what's the easiest to accomplish, or what is some kind of like low-hanging fruit, or something that very minimal investment equals getting the plans moving forward so that folks can see that improvement. So we'll be looking at all of those things. And then here's the schedule. So this is going to be a quick study, and we're going to be working kind of through the end of this year into early 2026. As we said, the first community workshop is December 10th, and that'll be right here. We'll have another community workshop towards the end of January. So what we hope to do is gather information in December. By January, have some initial plans, initial thoughts that we can share, get feedback from the community, and then we'll be back here to present to you all in February with our final deliverables, then hopefully by the end of February. And that is it. So happy to answer any questions that you guys might have, and hope to see you all on December 10th right here.
Questions?
I don't have any questions. It's just exciting. I love outdoors. I love trails. I love hiking. Love the water. Love the connectivity, and maybe connecting some things together. So be interesting to see at the workshop.
Yeah, I would agree. This is exciting and long time coming too, probably, I would say. And I'll be interested to see the feedback from the community. We've experienced that recently with feedback regarding another project we're doing, and they can get very creative and come up with ideas you hadn't even thought of. So definitely looking forward to that.
One of my questions is are the meeting, I think the second to last meeting, or before you guys have the deliverables on the timeline, it's on, the February meeting. That's with the commission. What is, like, what do you, like, how do you see the commission's involvement at that point? I bring this up because we just had one regarding the Hathcock Center, where we were trying to figure out designs on the spot, and we weren't sure if, like, the structure was, are we here to sort of like workshop this, or are we here to just put a stamp on something? And so it kind of felt like we were trying to figure out what we're trying to do at that spot. So I'm just trying to plan so that if we need to set time aside, like a meeting before, as an actual like commission workshop meeting regarding any decisions from this, we can plan that out versus having it as part of a regular commission meeting.
Sure. And Madam Vice Mayor, what I would say to that is, I would look at this as a very high level study. What we're trying to do is take the entire city limits and identify areas that we can incorporate potential trail corridors. Also looking at recommendations of how might we introduce trails into our culture as a city, so into our land development code, make recommendations that as we develop that we incorporate more multi-use trails. So what I would expect that we'll be presenting back to you all, so at that second community workshop, we're going to already have some drafts of some recommended trail corridors. As I showed you guys those sections, also the accompanying sections of what that might look like. And so we'll have that at that next public workshop. What we're hoping to do then is to take that feedback, make any changes, incorporate the feedback we get from the community, and then present that to you all. So you guys will have those materials ahead of time. And hopefully at that point, we've had time to vet it through the community. You guys will have had time to look at it. And then any feedback that you guys have at that point, then that's why we have a little bit of a gap between that final presentation and the final deliverables, just to make sure we capture anything else that you guys feel is important to that document. But I would say, think of it as a very high level, right? We're not going to have every corridor designed to an inch, but we're just really trying to capture this as an idea and to give you guys the tools to be able to implement it moving forward.
So the final deliverables, there's actually another meeting after.
That will just be delivering the final plans that then you guys would have. And I know that the city manager then we can take that and look at that as far as priorities. So as you guys are looking at budgeting for some of these strategic initiatives, it'll give you a toolkit of here are the projects that we could take on, what they would cost, so that you guys can look ahead towards putting together budgets and thinking about what sort of things you would want to implement to move forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you so very much. And it's always beneficial and helpful to all of us to have the community's input. So thank you for providing the workshops. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we're ready for comments from citizens on subjects not on the agenda.
Hi, my name is Samantha King. I just wanted to give a couple suggestions. You don't have to do an RFP to get live streaming. You can live stream on YouTube. You can live stream on your Facebook page. The City of High Springs, Gainesville, GRU, and I'm missing one. They all stream their mission or their commission meetings or the authority meetings on YouTube. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but I think there's an issue with a lack of transparency. I did a public records request. I believe it was a little bit over a week before I got a response. I was quoted $105 and some change for said public records request. I asked for the general terms and conditions. So your terms and conditions that go to any contractor that's attached to any solicitation that goes out for bid, your supplemental conditions, your federal conditions, and then a copy of your purchase order terms and conditions. The one thing that I did ask for that didn't fall under that was a copy of a quote with the scope of work. So the first things that I mentioned, those should not have to be requested via public record. I rebutted back to the person that emailed me and let them know that I thought that it was an exaggeration of the amount of time that it would take to get those items, considering, and I listed every single agency within Alachua County that post all of those documents online on their procurement page or their finance page, whichever they want to call it, because those are boilerplate languages. You don't have to redact anything. You don't have to search anything. You use it every day. It should be able to be dragged and dropped. The only thing that should have required a public records request would have been a quote with the scope. I rebutted back to both responses and let them know what I thought and told them that I was able to find the federal terms and conditions and your construction terms and conditions because there was only one solicitation left on you guys' page to look at, but I would still need the other items. And today I got a notice letting me know that it was being closed because I didn't pay the invoice. So those things are that in itself. Those things are things that shouldn't require a public records request. I know I work in public procurement, and if someone does a public records request, I can give that to them in under 15 minutes. So I think it was a bit outrageous to say it was going to take, I think, 1.75 hours to do that. And if I'm understanding that is a common theme across the board, so there's a lack of transparency and getting the things that we need.
Thank you.
Tom Hubbard, citizen of Alachua. I just wanted to, on a little lighter note, I want to read this short article that I just came across yesterday. It says, "Big news, Alachua. We won the Levitt Concert Series grant." I am so proud of us because a lot of us have been pushing for this to help revitalize downtown and our other recreational spaces. And officially selected out of 300 proposals nationwide. And this grant will bring 10 free family-friendly outdoor concerts to our community each year. I assume this is for the next 2 years or maybe 3. But we made the cut. A lot of people, I'm sure, worked hard for it. And the Alachua Business League is mentioned in here. maybe they proposed a grant or something. I'm not sure, but I think y'all and the business community deserve a big kudos for bringing this. Thank you.
Thank you. Others? Thank you. Item 3. Any committee reports, committee appointments, city announcements? If not, we're ready for item 4, public hearings and ordinances.
Madam Vice Chair, if you'd like to read the ordinance into the record.
Yes.
This is Ordinance 2026-01, an ordinance of the City of Alachua, Florida, relating to the amendment of Subpart B of the City of Alachua Code of Ordinances, Land Development Regulations, LDRs, amending Section 4.4.4A2, relating to manufactured homes as accessory dwelling units in the Agriculture A and Residential Single Family 1 RSF1 zone districts, providing a repealing clause, providing severability, and providing an effective date.
Mr. Carson.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Manager, Madam City Attorney. Carson J. Crockett, planner with the City of Alachua, Community Planning and Community Development Department. My resume is on file in the Office of the Deputy City Clerk. This clicker really is acting up today. If I could have the lights, please. Thank you. This hearing is a legislative hearing, application number PTAL 25-0001, which is a staff-initiated text amendment regarding Section 4.4.4A2 of the city's land development regulations. Section 4.4.4A2 relates to the use of mobile, manufactured, and travel trailer / RV homes for the use as accessory dwelling units. The purpose of this amendment is to clarify the existing standard, which reads, quote, "Mobile homes, recreational vehicles, and travel trailers shall not be used as accessory dwelling units," end quote. The Planning Department has always interpreted that, quote, "mobile homes" to include manufactured homes as a prohibition on accessory dwelling units, and any off-site construction homes generally as a prohibition on accessory dwelling units. However, staff wishes to clarify the standard to communicate that interpretation more clearly. The proposed amendment would read, quote, "Mobile homes, manufactured homes, except those located in the A or RSF1 districts, recreation vehicles, and travel trailers shall not be used as accessory dwelling units." This proposed language accomplishes 2 items, the first being that clarification item that the Planning Department is looking for. And second, this would lift that existing prohibition on manufactured homes specifically in the A and RSF1 districts. And planning looked at those because those lots tend to be larger in size. RSF1 has a minimum lot size of 1 acre, agricultural has a minimum of 5 acres, and they're not required to hook up to city utilities in most cases, so it wouldn't impact our city utilities to allow them in this area. Just to be clear before I move on to this slide, a manufactured home used as an accessory dwelling unit would still have to meet all of the standards of a manufactured home used as a primary dwelling unit as well. So those standards would apply across the board still. There would be no loophole on that. The amendment has been evaluated for consistency against specific goals, objectives, and policies in the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan. Specific goals, objectives, and policies that demonstrate consistency are located in the future land use and housing elements. A full analysis with those specific goals, objectives, and policies is included in the staff report in your agenda item. Section 2.4.1E1 of the city's land development regulations establishes the standards with which all text amendments to the land development regulations must be found compliant. These standards are consistent with comprehensive plan, consistent with ordinances, changed conditions, community need, compatible with surrounding uses, development patterns, effect on natural environment, public facilities. I'm not going to go through each of those right now. If you have a specific question, I'm happy to answer regarding any of these standards. The full evaluation is available in the staff report. On November 18th, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Board held a duly advertised public hearing and voted 3-0 to transmit this amendment to you with a recommendation to approve. Staff recommends that the City Commission find the proposed text amendment to the City of Alachua Land Development Regulations to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the city's land development regulations. And 1, adopt Ordinance 26-01 upon first reading, and 2, schedule second and final reading of Ordinance 26-01 for the December 8th, 2025 Commission meeting. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions the Commission may have.
Thank you. Questions? Comments?
You said this was a staff initiated change. How long ago, and what? Why did you guys pick this LDR section out?
Absolutely, Madam Vice Mayor. So this has been on our radar for a number of years, and it has just recently come more with our public interactions at the counter, on the phone, via email, a lot of confusion. And we're just trying to get ahead of that and try to get that out of the way.
So we're seeing an increase in our residents wanting to delineate, or I guess like increase the usage of accessory dwelling units.
Madam Vice Mayor, I would say that's an accurate statement. Yeah.
Do you have because I don't know why, but is there any concerns or reasons why, from like either an economic standpoint, on why we're seeing that increase in frequency?
Madam Vice Mayor, there's a lot of different economic factors that can contribute to that. Obviously, there are many national economic factors currently. I don't think that's necessarily why. I will say manufactured homes as accessory dwelling units tend to be more affordable to construct over site-built accessory dwelling units, which is what we currently require in all of our zoning districts. So this would give a little bit of relief in the A and RSF1 districts where those manufactured homes are more compatible with the principal units.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor. Carson, could you go back to, I think it was maybe your second slide. I'll know it when I see it. Hang on.
Is it the one that was redlined?
Yes, that one. Okay.
Lights, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is coming out or going in?
This is an addition. So
this is going into it.
This amendment proposes no deletion of text, only an addition of text.
So it says that they shall not be used as accessory dwelling units.
The red text is the addition. So
right.
Currently it reads mobile homes, recreational vehicles, and travel trailers shall not be used as accessory dwelling units. This would state mobile homes, manufactured homes, except those located in the A or RSF1 districts. Recreational vehicles and travel trailers should not be used as an accessory dwelling unit.
Okay, so what we're really talking about is manufactured homes as accessory dwelling units in the A or RSF1.
Madam Vice Mayor, that's correct.
Okay. Only those two districts.
Correct.
Okay. And for the public, A is agricultural, RSF1 is residential single family dwelling.
Yes.
One, yeah. Do we how do we, as a city, how are we defining manufactured homes to make sure that it's clear to someone that's wanting to do something like this?
Madam Vice Mayor, the land development regulations do define manufactured home. It is very similar in structure to a mobile home. The delineating factor is the year 1976 and a HUD code seal. Manufactured homes were constructed after 1976 and have a HUD code seal and data plate on them. Anything previous to that or anything missing the HUD code seal and data plate are considered mobile homes under the code.
So under the code, and I apologize if I sound like I'm repeating what you said. Mm-hmm. So under the code, anything manufactured after 1976 is considered a manufactured home, not a mobile home. Like that term mobile home is being loosely used nowadays.
Madam Vice Mayor, I would agree with that. The term mobile home for our code is used kind of loosely, and that's why we have that definition of manufactured home. The state also has its own definition, but for our local codes, we are referring to our local definitions.
Of course. Okay. But for the general well, this is speculative. I guess this is more of a statement rather than a question to you. This is speculative, but what we're still talking about is a mobile home. As to what the general public thinks of mobile homes, I understand how you explained it, but general public may not, in essence, know the difference between the two as far as the year and the HUD seal.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? What I just said? Okay, I'm trying to
Mobile homes can
use your.
manufactured homes cannot.
Madam Vice Mayor, we require, if a mobile home is permitted on a lot or a manufactured home, we require the chassis with the wheelbase be removed regardless.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. That's kind of where I was going with this. Okay. Thank you, Carson.
Vice Mayor, sorry. If our our mobile homes definition or our manufactured homes definition do not align with the state's definition?
Madam Vice Mayor, off the top of my head, I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to go back and compare the two.
I could have sworn you said there's a little bit of confusion between our own code and how we define this versus the state's. My concern is whenever the state writes something, we should probably be aligned with it in terms of definitions of things.
So Madam Vice Mayor, we're not proposing to touch the definitions at this time. This is supposed to be a temporary fix where we come back and address all of our accessory dwelling unit code. At that time, we might look at that definition.
For us, so it doesn't fall off of our plate on this, I guess I'm speaking to my fellow commissioners. How do you guys feel that's an issue, or that should be something we should provide to the city manager? Because I do have a concern, and I don't know if we're already looking at all of these LDRs this way, because it's a question of like, we know now there's like an inconsistency. Do we want to fix this inconsistency? And if we do, how do we want to approach this?
Well, I'm sorry, Madam Vice Mayor. Carson, correct me if I'm wrong. Commissioner Fletcher, I think this is already on the radar of staff. The inconsistency that you're talking about, that's going, and the intention is that it's going to be addressed.
Madam Vice Mayor, that's correct. This is sort of that stopgap to try to help the confusion in one spot in the meantime, because that code amendment is going to be something that takes a lot longer to get to.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think that was my confusion on what if staff was already working on this. So if staff's already working on it, there's nothing really should be doing. Is there, I guess, an expected deadline or timeline for this?
So, Madam Vice Mayor, obviously the planning department's schedule has continued to be pretty heavy, and we are looking at our required evaluation and appraisal report for the comprehensive plan next year. Our hope is to pair some LDR amendments with the evaluation and appraisal report. I don't have a hard deadline, but that's kind of our expected.
Do you know when that report's due?
That's due at the end of 2026 to the state.
Thank you.
Can I ask just one more question? In as far as a home, can they put more than one manufactured home? If a land is got one dwelling, can they put 2 or 3 manufactured homes on it?
Madam Vice Mayor, the answer to that question would be no. Accessory dwelling units are limited to 1 per residential detached home.
Thank you.
And that standard is not changing as part of this.
Thank you. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Madam Vice Mayor, before we do a motion either way on this, I'm kind of struggling with this a little bit. I'm like bouncing along in my head. Although I appreciate the fact that they can only put, as Commissioner Ringerson got clarified, you can only put 1, which, okay. And we're narrowed down to 2 districts, and those are the 2 districts where I could see that they would fit. Is this, I don't know, maybe I'm just going down the rabbit hole. Is this a slippery slope where this is allowed now, but then, down the road, are we looking, would we be approached with, well, we'd like, we need to be looking at recreational vehicles I don't know. I'm conscious of the fact that there's a huge national economic, we could go down that hole if we want to, but I just want to make sure that the quality is there, and that we're not kind of going down a slippery slope. And I could be thinking more into it, but I just kind of wanted to throw that out there to y'all, my fellow commissioners, and just see what you thought.
I view this as a beginning step to update, clarify, but of course there's more to come with this.
I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Madam Vice Mayor, if I may, I can go
Please.
through the standards of a manufactured home today, if that helps. I would also note that recreational vehicles are already permitted for temporary residence in agriculture while constructing a permanent home.
Right.
So
right.
that also kind of transfers over there, but that's at your pleasure.
Do you feel you need that?
You were going to tell us what again?
The standards a manufactured home would have to comply with.
Sure.
Including aesthetics.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Give me just one moment.
I think that's important. If that's okay, Madam Vice Mayor, thank you.
So I'm not going to go through the specifics of each of these because we don't need a whole
right.
thing.
No, do a summary or something.
Yep. So manufactured homes, and this transfers to as an accessory use, would be required to follow the following standards: be placed on a permanent foundation and anchoring, permanently enclosing the underfloor, removing any transportation equipment, have a minimum width of 20 feet, have a minimum roof pitch, minimum distances to eaves and roof edges. The roof materials would be required to be constructed of a similar texture, color, and material to those in the surrounding neighborhood and surrounding residences. They'd be required to have a roof overhang of at least 6 inches. The exterior finish is not permitted to be metal, and it would have to be of similar material to that in the neighborhood surrounding or the primary structure on site. And then they also have to comply with all of our single-family detached dwelling standards as well, which those would include, just 1 second here, be oriented to face the primary entrance, or the primary entrance be oriented towards the driveway. For accessory dwelling units, that one's a little less important. Building massing, if 30 feet or more in width, incorporate wall offsets. Often for manufactured homes, we see that as a dormer over the entryway or an extended porch built onto the side. And then again, there's that building materials, not use metal siding and exposed smooth finish concrete block, which you wouldn't be able to do on a manufactured home anyway. Those are all in addition to our accessory dwelling unit standards, which limit the size, the placement, all of that.
Thank you, Carson. That was helpful.
Yes.
Any other questions? Are we ready for motion?
Yeah, I'll move that this commission finds the proposed text amendment to the City of Alachua land development regulations to be consistent with the City of Alachua comprehensive plan and in compliance with the city's land development regulation, and adopt ordinance 26-01 upon first reading and schedule second and final reading for December 8th, 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We'd like to open it up for citizens' comments.
Samantha King. I was just going to read the Florida statute's definition between the mobile home and the manufactured home. I didn't know if you still wanted that definition. So Florida statute 320.012A defines a mobile home as A structure transportable in one or more sections which is 8 feet or 8 body feet or more in width and 40 body feet or more in length, which is built on a chassis and is designed to be used as a dwelling when connected, to required utilities and includes the pumping, heating, air conditioning, and electrical systems contained therein. Keynotes to they were built before June 15th, 1976, which is when the federal HUD code took effect. They were constructed to the state or local standards that existed at that time. And then Florida still recognizes them for registration, titling, and park regulations, and they cannot be sold as manufactured homes. Manufactured homes as defined by the statute, which is 320.012B. A structure transportable in one or more sections, which is 8 body feet or more in width, and 40 body feet or more in length, which is built on a chassis and is designed to be used as a dwelling when connected to the required utilities and including the pumping, heating, air conditioning, and electrical systems contained therein, and which is built to comply with the Federal Manufactured Home Construction and Safety Standards Act of 1974, which is the HUD code. Keynotes must have a HUD certification label, red metal tag on each transportable section, constructed to federal HUD standards, and it's treated as real property if permanently affixed and entitled, retired, otherwise remains personal property. And I just wanted to say I agree with you guys doing this. It's in areas where the lots are bigger, and this allows them to make, like, even if they're not huge, affordable housing for other people. It's just an option. So I agree with it.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioner, staff. My name is Tiama Robbins. I agree with this as well, Madam Mayor, and I appreciate Commissioner Williams, all of you actually, trying to get clarification, because to me the language, the red and the strike through was pretty confusing, honestly. I mean, why are we even having mobile homes in there if it refers to structures that are built before 1976? I'm not sure there's a lot of mobile homes that are riding around on wheels getting places, honestly. Perhaps we could just strike that out. I know there's something it says that manufactured, it says he had it up there in the language, and then he says, well, they're not, Mr. Carson said they're not allowed. Travel trailers are allowed as temporary living quarters on ag land while you're building. Well, maybe we should just say that they're where it's not allowed that for permanent housing, just to make it consistent with other parts. I don't understand why the manufactured home has a size limit. He said 20 foot wide. I think we should have a square foot requirement. And why do we have to have it 20 foot wide and 40 feet long? I mean, people do not, why? I mean, if you can put a manufactured unit as an accessory dwelling for someone to live in a 2-room facility that is adequate for housing, why are we making it some 20 foot wide thing with a length requirement? That doesn't make any sense to me. Housing is limited. People are trying to take care of their family members on property that they already own. And if you can have a mother-in-law suite or a kid going to college suite, I mean, I live in a 675 foot square house and have for 30 years and happy as pie. I'm just saying, you don't need a big manufactured house or any other big dwelling unit to satisfy housing needs. And honestly, houses are not required to be air conditioned in this state. You have to have heat, not air conditioning. So I support it. I'm glad you're looking into the accessory dwelling. And I'd like to know, what is the minimum lot size for an RSF1 lot? I would like to know what that is, because I think I live in a neighborhood that's RSF1. And so who's to say I couldn't put a little manufactured home on there for somebody else to live in? I don't know, just saying. So if he could clarify what the minimum lot size currently is for RSF1 in the city, and about how many RSF1 lots that are not ag zoned are there in the city of Alachua that would qualify for this change? Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Carson, any more comments?
Madam Vice Mayor, I would like to correct myself if that is indeed the state definition that was read. Our code is actually fairly consistent with that definition. I wouldn't say it's word for word, but I'd say fairly consistent. If I get my presentation back, please. While she's bringing that up, the minimum lot size in the RSF1 district is 1 acre. The maximum dwelling units is 1 dwelling unit per acre. Now, accessory homes don't count towards that 1 dwelling unit per acre, but the lot size is a minimum 1 acre.
Sorry. So you said the dwelling units don't count?
The accessory dwelling units are not counted against the dwelling units per acre standard.
So again, let's just jump it back to RSF1. One primary, right, dwelling unit, we'll call it that. And then the accessory dwelling unit, they get 1, and that's it? Or is there more dwelling units?
It's just 1 accessory dwelling unit.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't have an exact number off the top of my head, but the darker green is all of the agriculturally zoned land in the city. And this light pale yellow, approximately there, here, there's another one out here. Those comprise a majority of the RSF1 zoned districts. There are not many of them.
Thank you. Are we ready to vote? Commissioner Fletcher?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Ringerson?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Motion carries. Item B, Ordinance 25-13.
Madam Vice Mayor, I'll read into the record the ordinance. An ordinance of the City of Alachua, Florida, relating to the amendment of the city's Code of Ordinances, amending Subpart A, Chapter 4, Alcoholic Beverages of the City of Alachua Code of Ordinances, providing for the exemption of the Community Redevelopment Agency District from the restrictions of alcohol sales within proximity to religious institutions as set forth in Section 3, providing for codification of this amendment in the city's Code of Ordinances, providing a repealing clause, providing severability, and providing an effective date.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney. I'm David Weisener, Economic Development Manager for the city. Staff here presents Ordinance 25-13 for the City Commission's consideration on second and final reading. First reading was held during the last regular commission meeting on November 10th. This ordinance amends, by commission request, an existing city ordinance that prohibits the sale of alcohol within 450 feet of a religious institution on all businesses that are not licensed as restaurants that derive at least 51% of gross revenue from the sale of food and non-alcoholic beverages. Specifically, this ordinance would exempt businesses within the Community Redevelopment Agency District from this prohibition while leaving the prohibition in place in the rest of the city. A copy of the proposed ordinance, the letter sent to notified churches of both this and the ordinance's first reading, and a map of the CRA district has been included with this item. Staff's recommendation is approval of Ordinance 25-13 on second and final reading. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions or concerns?
Yes, ma'am. Between the time that we passed for first hearing and then this hearing, have we received any public comment, either in person or written, from city staff to city staff?
Madam Vice Mayor, to my knowledge, we have not.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I'll move to approve Ordinance 25-13 on its second and final reading. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Citizens' comments.
Madam Vice Mayor, Commission staff, Tamara Robbins. I just need some clarification. So y'all saw the map. It's not been put up, but apparently it was included. I know it's in the backup. So the CRA is 256 acres. And the letter to the churches is specifically stating that to promote businesses along Main Street. And I think it's really important that we understand that the CRA goes across 441. It goes within a quarter of a block to my house by 230 Northwest 37th Terrace, 137th Terrace. I mean, if you look at the map, it's 256 acres. It goes up towards the rec center. It goes over across 235. So I think we need to be cognizant of how this can impact. There's commercial, but is it just for commercial district? Is it just commercial businesses currently commercially zoned? Because it is not just Main Street. So I think that's really important to clarify. And section 4.3, so it says alcohol sales, but in the backup, the attachment of section 4.3, it says, however, this section shall not apply, and underline, this is the addition, within the Community Development Agency District to sales of beer and malt beverages. That has nothing to do with wine and any other alcohol. And you're talking about having wine bars like that are at Tech City and stuff. This is talking specifically beer and malt beverages. So I don't know about that. I don't even know why that's in section 4.13. That wasn't a change. That was already in there. So why are you one hand saying alcoholic beverages, and then you're defining it alcoholic beverages essentially as beer and malt beverages? Well, that doesn't include a wine bar, folks, or anybody wanting to serve liquor at their establishment. So it says for consumption off the premises and locations that are licensed. It says it doesn't apply for sale of off. You just need to read section 4.3 and y'all make sense of that and explain it to me, because this applies to the entire CRA. So businesses like that are commercially zoned right on 235, or what does it apply to people in neighborhoods who, I know you have to get a special event permit to use it if you're having a special event in a residential neighborhood. I think you just need to look at it a little bit more, because we're not just talking Main Street here. You're talking the property over by Walgreens, going up Main Street. You're talking up by the rec center, talking all the way over there past Hitchcock's. So I think you just need to read it and find out about why does it just say beer and malt beverages. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Are we ready to vote? Commissioner Fletcher.
Vice Mayor, I do have a question. So just because I believe I asked this last time, this does not affect people drinking off property, right?
Madam Vice Mayor, that is correct.
And it also does not affect which establishments are already allowed to serve alcoholic beverages.
That is also correct.
And regarding malt and beer beverages, what does this, from I guess like an alcohol classification standpoint, what does this actually impact to allow?
Madam Vice Mayor, I would need to look at it again. I believe my only addition was I didn't change anything in the existing ordinance, I believe, other than just saying that it exempted the CRA district from it. I believe that's the only thing that was done. So I did not address any of the other existing languages regarding what kinds or types of alcohol, if my memory serves.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to understand. So like with this exemption removed for the CRA, are we allowed to say have a wine bar? Are we allowed to have a brewery? Are we allowed to have an additional bar in that area? Does that allow for any of those, or?
Madam Vice Mayor, I don't believe. I would defer to the Planning and Zoning Department for that.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I guess the entrepreneur nature, right? We don't want to stifle that with this. If we came into it saying, hey, we're wanting to bring a competitive environment, and if we're only hand choosing what type of businesses specifically in it, I think I don't feel perfectly right with that. So I just want to make clear that we're setting a fair ground with this.
Mr. Crockett.
Madam Vice Mayor Carson J. Crockett, Principal Planner with the City of Alachua, for the record. Just to clarify, as the code is currently written, there's a lot of conjunctions going on and ands and not a lot of commas. The proposed text, which we were consulted on by Mr. Weisner here, does include some additions of commas. So it would state, however, this section shall not apply within the Community Redevelopment Agency District, comma, to sales of beer and malt beverages for consumption off the premises and for locations that are licensed as restaurants, which derive at least 51% of gross revenue from the sale of food and non-alcoholic beverages. That's one item, comma, or for a premises licensed on or before July 1st, 1999, continuously operating. So this would not exempt any specific types of alcohol from the exemption. Does that answer your question, Madam Vice Mayor?
So not exempt any type, or like we're just saying we're not locking out any type of businesses with this. Is that correct?
Madam Vice Mayor, that's correct. For the wine bar example, wine bar would be permitted.
Okay.
Yep. Does that answer?
Thank you, sir. Ready to vote? All right. Commissioner Fletcher. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Ringerson.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Thank you. Motion carried. Thanks, Mr. Weisner. All right. We are ready for the agenda items, design services for the Hathcock Center.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney. My name is Rudolph Valneris, City Manager for the City of Alachua, and this project moves forward. So we completed Task 1, and now we're shifting to the design concepts of Task 2, and I'll introduce Barnett with Monarch to talk about the details that are encompassed in Task 2, and then we'll move for the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Barnett Chenault, President of Monarch Design Group, and I'm joined with fellow colleagues from NV5 and the rest of the Monarch team here tonight. As was discussed on the agenda item previously, as I've been standing up here and presenting in front of you, this time's a little bit different because I don't have a beautiful presentation, but that's because it's really just an update of where we're at and the tasks that are ahead, right? So in the past, we focused on the consecutive meetings and the iterative meetings that we've gone through, right? We've had the meetings with staff, we've had the meetings with community, we've had the meetings with commission, right? That was all part of a larger picture that I want to bring us back to when we first began the process of this design of the facility. And that is to understand the overall size, scope, and feel of the building. Essentially, what direction we want to head in as we're going. It's a high level conversation, right? That it's meant to be so that we can get understanding of some key decisions along the way so we can help guide the conversation as far as budgetary needs are concerned and use of the facility are concerned, right? Early on in this early phase, it helps us also to understand what is the overall scope of the building. So looking back at the original contract as we were putting forward, right, we identified 3 tasks that the project would subsequently follow through, right? Task 1 is what we define as the programming phase. It's what we've been undertaking as we go through this. It's the meetings that we've been having. It's what is this overall size and scope of the project. Based off the information that has been provided during that time, that helps us hone in on what Task 2 would be. And Task 2 is essentially us picking some of the decisions that have been made, but also evolving them into the next steps, right? Task 2 is where we will take some of the direction that's been given and further vet it out with dependence on the rest of the engineering team and the rest of the designers that come to play, right? So during Task 2 is when we start getting into the construction documents portion of the project. And during that phase, we'll go from just a rough conceptual to starting to identify the fixed floor plan, the total square footage for the building, the components necessary, and then eventually the engineering that we need in order to see the building completed in what will be eventually the task 3, which is construction and construction administration, right? And to do all that, we assemble an incredible team. NV5 is a part of it, but they'll be focused mostly on the civil side of things. We'll be bringing in the rest of the structural engineers, the mechanical engineers, the plumbing designers, the interior designers, all those subsequent trades to help us get the perfect building that you want to see as we go through that. That's a very intensive portion of the project, but I also want to reiterate the fact that even though we're moving into to task 2 of the process, there will still be a lot of engagement, a lot of conversation to land and determine the final decisions on these things that are happening, right? Going back one more time, task 1 is about the broader picture. Task 2 is about how we start detailing out these things. And what we've accomplished so far has been great, right? When we started the process, it was wide open, right? We took no assumptions as far as what the building could be, and we were walking down a path together to help define those things for us. It could have been a 10-story tall building if the budget would have allowed, right? At the beginning of this. Due to conversations and interactions with everyone, we decided 10 stories is probably not the best case at this point in time, mostly from the budget standpoint of things, but also location and need didn't facilitate that. The things that we have been discovering, though, are the location on the site still proved to be the best spot, expansion of that with the addition of the parcel to the side, and even starting to pencil out thoughts of how it could additional needs in the future as far as parking and allocation at the site would be considered, right? Or need to be accommodated for. Another thing that we talked about was how do we fit the new building along with the stormwater and take into account some of the existing ecological features that were there as well, such as the beautiful tree that is off to the off to the west of the site, right? These are all conversations that we had as we go through it. And where it doesn't paint a final picture of what the building is going to be, it does help us narrow in key decisions so that we can look across at each other and say, all right, we're on track to deliver a reasonable project based off the restraints that have been placed on it, right? So an analogy is through this process and through the conversations that we've had, we've kind of been able to have the airfield in sight. We still need to move towards the next phase, which is landing the airplane, which, as everyone knows, is the most complicated part of that process, right? So I'm happy to go into any detail on this, but I believe the conversation is just to give you a brief update, bring it back to the overall scope of work that's ahead of us, and talk about moving into the second task 2 of the design phase in order to deliver a successful building to you.
Questions? Concerns?
Yeah. It sounds like you're just reviewing this. So what we're saying is we're going to make a change order to this original contract to I guess achieve tasks 2 for the amount of $320,000. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am, that's correct.
My question is I was hoping you would elaborate more on like what you guys plan to do during task 2, or present on that, but it seems like it's just within this document. Is that correct?
And so we're moving. Task 2 is the design. There's 30, 60, 90 deliverables that will be done. This clicks into the engineering, just how things get worked out. The scope and the project definition that you guys have provided, we will incorporate into the design. If we come up with the crossroad or any further direction we'll get from the board, we'll bring that back and present it to you. But a lot of these things do get driven by the engineering aspects, stormwater sizing, roadway sizing. So all those things, the solutions will become prevalent, we'll move forward. But when it comes to the historic aspect of it, we will come back to get more direction feedback from the board.
And I guess my second question is this, I guess this change order is a contract with Monarch Design, is that correct?
That a change orders with the existing contract we have with Monarch, that is correct.
And it's, so the one I'm looking at right here that's already been signed by Monarch, our staff has reviewed that.
Could you elaborate which one you have in front of you? The change order form?
The change order form that's signed.
That has been reviewed by staff, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. That's it.
Other questions?
Madam Vice Mayor, I'll make the motion to accept the change order number 1, task 2 from Monarch Design Group for the City of Alachua Hathcock Community Center project and authorize the city manager to execute associated documents.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any citizens' comments?
My name is Ringerson. So, what is y'all saying about the Hathcock? How big it's gonna be? How many square feet we looking at on and stuff like that? Is it gonna be enough seating area to go any kind of event or what?
So yes, there were many workshops and we got a lot of good ideas from the public. The next step is to incorporate all of those changes. So a lot of these solutions do get, will be driven. For example, we have the general layout for the location of the building that will be refined based off of the parking lot, roadways, stormwater basin. And our goal is to bring in a facility that aligns with the current budget and the needs for the public. And so the actual square footage of the building, we will optimize, we'll provide the biggest building we can, but it will be limited to addressing all of the needs that has been provided or in the direction that's been provided by this board.
One more question. Will y'all, can y'all hold another citizen meeting to show the citizen how the building will be designed?
Mr. Valadares, thank you.
This project has provided a lot of public engagement and a lot of communication. Our goal is to continue to communicate with the public in all the aspects for it. And so we will do it through the PIO. We'll do it through meetings with the public. Yes, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to bring our community together, and that's the goal with this building. And so, yes, our goal is to communicate.
Okay, thank you. Before y'all make any decision, can y'all, my thing is that let the citizen of the community be appointed to see what we getting, how we want it. Now, I understand, like I told him, whatever. I'm getting a bit. I'm getting a lot of feedback too about that property there. Have been owned for by 3 American people. Miss Molly McLean and Stroud Restaurant. There's like 3 businesses on that lot there in the area. So my thing is to people still like to see some of that landmarks still stand there, like Miss Molly had her place, blah blah blah, but have a landmark still in the people, and plus have y'all reach out to one family member about his grandfather building, and that's his Cleve Hathcock Senior, Junior, his grandson. But I'm saying he haven't heard nothing about destroying the building. So I think before y'all do make any kind of decision, let the citizen come back together again, or hold another citizen meet. Let us come and give our final say so before the board make their decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, James Jim Carrington. We can't do enough for our seniors. Don't worry about the budget. Make the change order. Spend the taxpayers' money. I have been up before the commissions, school boards, library boards, discussed millage rates, everything else. It doesn't matter. This money is well spent on our senior citizens. And truly, if you look hard enough, we can talk about what needs to be done and what so many things. But as I said at budget time, it's just juggling. Juggle the change orders, get it right, and thank you for the senior citizens that they will have something here in the city of Alachua.
Thank you.
Good evening, Samantha King. I think it's great that you guys are doing something for the citizens and the seniors. I just had a couple questions I wanted to get clarification on. You guys mentioned a contract, but when I read the documents back there, I didn't see what type of contract it was, and I was curious if this was done as like a design build or how was this solicited. And then he mentioned something about doing the construction and construction administration. And my question is well, without knowing what type of contract this is, the next thing that I might say might not be 100% correct, but if they're designing the building and they're not doing like a design build, but if they're designing the building and the structure, in the documents back there, it said that there would be a third phase, another proposal for construction administration. And so the reason I want clarification as to what they're calling construction administration is because if they are going to lead construction or partake in any of that, they cannot bid on that portion. So you can, depending on the type of solicitation, type of contract, if it's like a design bid build, you are hiring a designer, they bid it out and they build it. Or you have a design build where they design and they build, they go the whole process. But if it wasn't done like that and they're going to do any form of construction, like actually physically do any part of the construction, they can't bid on that. So I just wanted to get clarification on it because I couldn't find it in the documents. The other thing I wanted to note is I understand that, he said, don't worry about the budget, but you still have to be good stewards of the citizens' money. It's something that as people that work for city, county, any kind of government, we're supposed to do. And this is the second agreement where I've seen the travel cost. Last agreement I saw that you guys had signed and executed had $31,000 in travel expenses for your vendor. This one doesn't have set amounts. It just says something along the lines of depends on the project. It's good practice to honor travel reimbursement in accordance with what you reimburse your city employees for travel or in accordance with the state of reimbursement policy. But when you leave it open like that, you guys are allowing them to charge. I think it says per diem, it says per mileage, and then I had another. It's like 3 different things. And maybe in the grand scheme of it, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it does add up. If you look at, like I said, the one contract without seeing anything else to it had $31,000 in travel expenses. And this one has 10% of this change order is for meeting minutes. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I just ask that you guys to really look at the cost and where you could fix and save some money.
Thank you. Any comments?
Yes, Vice Mayor. In reference to the delivery approach, this is not a design build. This is a design bid build. The procurement process was a request for qualifications. We hired the most qualified firm to go ahead and do this work. At that time, again, we did not know the magnitude and type of building we're going to build. So we did a project definition, which was task 1, where we got the community input, we got the board input. Now that we know what we're going to design, Monarch's providing the detailed design to go ahead and get the construction going. In reference to the construction, Monarch is not performing the construction of this project. What's referenced is the inspection services to make sure it is done in accordance with the contract documents, which will be presented to you guys at another time, which at that time you can continue with Monarch or you can choose another inspection services that you care for. And then in reference to the travel, this is a lump sum project. No travel expenses will be time and materials in for it. And again, it's lump sum. So whatever the cost is what's being provided for the efforts for this task.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Sorry, just one other additional thing that I want to say with regards to the travel. I believe what was being addressed is actually a cut sheet that was pulled off of not just this contract, our continuing contract that we have with the city that dates back to 2022. And it was just referencing that contract where it did have just a placeholder as the fact that it's a continuing contract that reaches over multiple different, it could be any project that comes along. So in dealing with those unknowns, it just has that placeholder. Being local, though, that's not the way that we typically approach the project and travel to the project. So,
Thank you. Anybody else?
Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, staff, Tamara Robbins. So, Mr. Valadares just made the comment that that y'all understand what you're going to design. Do you all understand what you're going to design? Have you been presented all the information from all the neighborhood meetings? And you have? Okay, I missed that in a meeting then. So you all fully understand what is going to be designed, the size, the scope, and all of this is what I'm thinking phase one was, to get all that feedback. Okay, that's good to know because I haven't seen the compilation of all the input that came from the citizens. I'm sure that's available in a report. Like, they compiled a report that compiles all that information that was gathered by those workshops. So I'll put in a public records request, and I'm hoping that's not going to get me a charge, because that seems to be standard protocol these days, is that you get charged for any public records you submit. So this is a public record for that compiled report of all that information that was gathered by all those community meetings. So this is a change order for almost $329,000. I'd like to know how much has already been spent. I couldn't find that number back there. What was the original amount that this is a change order to? And what is the plan for the existing building? I would really like to know, are you going to declare that surplus property and auction it off so somebody can move it and actually make a living quarters out of it, or putting on that ag land and use it as an accessory dwelling unit? Because that is a structure that is worth moving. It is hard to pine, and it has been modified to include plumbing and electric and windows and all that stuff. So I'd like to know. I was told I did ask this question before, and this day, as someone up here said, I think it was when Mr. DeRosa was here, that building was going to be saved. I'd like to know about that, because y'all know you have to declare it surplus, or you're going to have to decide whether you're going to tear it down. I'd like to know that answer now. What is the plan for the existing, very useful building that it was donated to us, and the public invested a fair amount of money in that, and I'm sure someone would like to utilize that building. So seems like a lot of money to be spending on this. I disagree with the previous speaker. I think you need to be very careful about how you're allocating the money. You don't just go in things without having a clear idea of how the public's money is being spent. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, we're ready to vote.
Before I vote on this, I do have some questions. Regarding the design, I guess, city manager, the final design is not actually known because we haven't designed it. Is that correct?
That's correct. The whole point of this is to get into the detailed design.
So, like, we don't know if it's 2 stories or 1 story.
Okay, and so the project definition phase defines the intent and the purpose of the building. You guys have provided enough direction for us to go ahead and design the building 30, 60, 90, and final completion. You guys have provided boundary conditions on what we need to do to provide the solution. As we go through all the details, again, some of these solutions become prevalent. And for example, you guys have allowed us understanding how all the property for this project has been procured. And so we have the parcels we're working with. And so depending on borings and the sizing of the stormwater basin would drive the available footprint for the building. And so as we go ahead and design a stormwater basin that allows the building to have a wider footprint, the conversation could be we could save money by not having elevator, 2 stairways, and provide more of a building for the community. If it ends up the site becomes very, very restrictive, you guys have provided us the option that a 2-story building is something we can look at. And so again, as we have the intent, the purpose, the goal for the buildings, and it's just like a lump of clay and how it fits the site the best. And that's what we'll be working on the next phase.
Has staff made a recommendation on what to do with the current structure there?
Staff has not made a recommendation for the structure. During public feedback, it was noted that that was a termite infested building that was relocated. We also had a lot of public feedback about the so no, we have not, but we've had incidents where the floor has failed. And so we will be working with Monarch, and that'll probably be determined with the contractor when we put the documents out to bid on whether he wants to put it for surplus or demo it. But again, this is way too early. But all those options are something we'll be looking at. And again, the board will be informed as we make these decisions as it moves forward.
You mentioned the contractor's decision on whether to demo it or move it.
For example, if again, a lot of what ifs. If the construction documents say contractor is responsible for demolishing the building, if that's a statement on the contract, then it's up to it allows him to either negotiate with somebody. Like it's not the city's direction at that time. Did you follow? I'm sorry, I skipped. So if the construction documents direct him to demo it, he can negotiate with whoever he wants to salvage the building, or he can demo it himself.
So if the commission wants to take action on or to assess whether or not this building can be saved or should be saved, that's action we need to take now before we get to the phase of having our construction plans. Is that correct? Because it sounds like as soon as this phase ends, then we're going to be soliciting it out to contractors where it's now in the contractor's hands to do whatever they want with with that building. So is it requiring direction from this commission to determine whether or not it's feasible to save that structure, relocate it, donate it, or whatever before we get to that phase?
If that building's worth salvaging, we will bring it to this board's attention. And so if there's any structural concerns, again, the solutions become obvious. If it's termite infested and it's structural concerns, for the city to pass that off for someone else to utilize would not be proper.
I think the commission should be informed regardless whether or not it can be saved or not at that time. So if it's unsavable, we should still hear about it before we get to that stage. And if it is savable, we should still hear about it then. And the other thing is on design bid build contracts. Is there a concern that we have with our contractors with them not being included in the design process?
Help me understand the question.
So if we're having contract, because I'm concerned about seeing we get a contractor, they see it, but they weren't included during the design process, and now we're starting to get hit with change orders through the course of that. Is that a concern, or?
It is a concern because you don't want contractors to be, depending on the delivery of the project, you do not want to give a contractor the benefit to review designs before he bids on it. And so they need to have some separation. Again, we have an engineer of record. They're responsible for designing the building to codes on all aspects. You could have other companies do cost estimates, do construction, review and so forth. And so those are options. But no, I want to have contractors that would be bidding on the project view the documents before they go out to bid, if that's what you were asking about.
Thank you.
Rodolfo, one other, just a quick question. When you're everything that's been brought to the table, that is things like the gentleman with historic elements potentially in the facility. Those are all going to be brought back from what the community had asked for, correct? At a later time, once we have everything that we're moving forward with, those ideas and those things are also going to be in consideration.
So one thing we've asked Monarch to do is to capture historic elements of the existing building. And so if there's any decorative pieces, any woodwork, that's where their creativity will be to consider using that material in some way, shape, or form in the new building to provide homage to what's out there right now.
And I was also meaning like the history, like the history.
And so, yes, there is the desire to provide an area to capture the history and the culture for the community. Yes, ma'am.
All right, good.
On behalf of the building, what I've seen can be saved. I did some work on it. I did structure on it, but I see they never showed none of it. What I came up with. My thing is, now I'm hearing a different story about the building. What they say, what I heard, think big, make sure the building be right, put money into it, or whatever. But now, if it's gonna be a one story or two stories, that's what I'm not understanding now. One time for came down, they're telling us to think big about this building. But now I don't hear that thinking big. This here and that there. But what I came up with, and I shared it with him, with the city manager, I showed him some of the structural work I came up with. And me personally, the building can be saved. You can just gut it out, redo it, everything, make it bigger and larger, and you can still take it up. Still tearing the whole building down. But me personally, because I've been talking with a lot of people in the city, citizens, about the building. A lot of them are really disappointed if they tear it down. So, like I'm saying, they're saying one thing and saying another. And I don't think it's right for the citizen or the senior citizen. You know, like I say, bring back to us. Let us start decide on now what can be done, what it can't be done. But everybody go, because I went to the bingo, asked me what they gonna do. Are they gonna tear it down or what? I did agree with it because the way it was gonna be designed up. But now I'm here now. I don't hear going up. Just one big flat building. I don't know. And then like the instruction part, let the people see how the building really gonna be designed. Don't design it without us seeing what's going on. Let's see the design too. See that we like the design or whatever. But right now, we're not seeing anything. Thank you.
My understanding, Mr. Anderson, is that we will receive more information on what the building will look like. And we will later be able to give input in terms of what happens to the building. We've always engaged the community because we want this to be a community building to serve our community. So please know you will not be left out. Please tell those that are concerned they will not be left out. So thank you for being here and offering those comments. Thanks to all of you. Anything else? Are we ready to vote? Commissioner Fletcher. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Ringerson.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. 4-0 vote. Motion carries. Thank you so much for your presentation. All right. Ready for the second comments from citizens on subjects not on the agenda.
Samantha King. Just so you know, you could do a CMR if you're worried about change orders. So it's a type of agreement, contract where you have the construction manager involved at the beginning, and then they hold the liability. That's just more information for you guys when you're asking questions, because you mentioned the change orders. And then when you're, well, I'm not going to give you a lesson on procurement, but that's just another option if you are more concerned about change orders.
Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, City Manager, Commissioners. My name is Michelle Lee. I'm the owner of Optimal Station and Good Life Station. Also serve on the board of the Alachua Chamber and the Alachua Business League. First, tonight I'd just like to say I'm here to say thank you in the holiday spirit. I'd like to thank you for our alcohol ordinance exemption within the CRA. That decision is already opening the doors for collaboration, more vibrancy, more opportunities for our downtown. It means more evenings where people linger, shop, dine, and connect, and that strengthens our business, so thank you. I want to express my gratitude for the teamwork behind the concert series. We are genuinely excited about what this will mean for our community in the spring. When private and public partners come together, magic happens. And so this is an example of that. So again, I want to say thank you, the Alachua Business League, Josh's Place, and the city. Looking forward to making this exciting over the next few years here. I want to celebrate also the success we've had with our market on Main. We've had tremendous growth, 500 people last weekend and 600 people this past weekend with over 40 vendors. We have new produce, meat, egg, and even a new beverage vendor. So this kind of turnout shows exactly what's possible when we invest in our main street and we gather together. So again, thank you. Finally, I want to thank you for some support surrounding the collaboration of the Cade Museum pop-up. We have had a wonderful turnout, as I had said, and Cade has already committed to returning regularly. So we are super excited about the partnership that inspires for our youth, that supports our businesses, and what all it brings to our city. So tonight, I just want you to know that the community feels the momentum. We feel the impact of your decisions, and we are grateful. So thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioner Staff, Tamara Robbins. So I'm going to go back to the live streaming. I'm not going to let that go. You all voted 5-0. I don't know why you do your about face change of heart or mind. I don't even know what to call it. But there is an audio video enhancement project that was moving forward by then Communications and Executive Project Manager Mike DeRosa. It was dated May 10th, 2018. It's called the Audio Video Enhancement Project 2019-06. So the scope of work needed to do this work has already been done. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Mr. DeRosa was pursuing this project. He was seeking input from Sabine Acoustics, and in his letter he says, the current system, particularly the video end, has experienced failures recently and is just not up to the standards it needs to be. So there's a whole scope of what needs to be done to get the live streaming, to reestablish what needs to happen. So this was already moving forward. Why, please, could you just answer why you are not pushing for this like you voted to do? Why did you change your mind? Why can we not trust that what you said you were going to do and you directed the city manager, why you're not holding him accountable? I honestly am baffled. Now you won't even look at me. So, like looking down, I mean, that's disrespectful. I stand here and look at you. So you could at least reestablish the fact that the videos used to be put online the next day. And then somebody decided to just take those all off. So all the videos that were created used to be put online for the public to view at their leisure, not going through your system, which, let's see, this week you're closed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you can't get access to a video for 4-5 days because somebody has to submit a public records request. And then the video link's only good for 7 days. Oh, this is not acceptable transparency, all of you. Restore the website the way that it was with the videos that are currently in your archive so the public can view them at their leisure, what they want to do, and then move forward with getting the city manager to come back with options. Why are you letting him off the hook here? This is like old business, old, outdated business. And I'll give you one of these cover sheets that you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. We are ready for comments from the city manager and city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. I would like to close this evening by noting a couple of community items. First, I want to express all my thanks to the staff and the volunteers for the Main Street Festival. It was well attended, and that event continues to grow. I'm also pleased to share that the new Chick-fil-A has officially opened here in the city of Alachua, and the project has generated significant excitement throughout our community. And its opening reflects the continued economic growth and the private investment in our commercial corridor. I look forward to the jobs, the activities, and the positive community impact that Chick-fil-A will have for us. I also am proud to report that Theater Park has reached its substantial completion, and that project's moving forward. And as we approach the Thanksgiving holidays, I want to extend my sincere appreciation to this board, to city staff, to residents for helping and being part of the Good Life community. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, city attorney.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. I just wanted to say thank you so much for welcoming me to your meeting tonight. It was refreshing to see such professionalism and decorum here today. And so I would just wish you all happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to future meetings.
Thank you. Commissioner Fletcher.
Yes. This is more directed to my fellow commissioners because I'm going to have to add this as an item on the agenda next time. It's how we handle our public records and our public policies for how the city goes. In August, I submitted a public records request for 25-674 for the monthly and quarterly reports the city has produced since I became a commissioner, as any commissioner would want to know what's going on at a monthly or quarterly scale. What I got back was a quote for $521, which I don't agree with because when I received it, it was a lump sum payment based off of unnamed staff hours. I went ahead and paid it. I do want to note that I paid it in protest, and it was noted that because I can't, as a commissioner, my responsibility does not wait for us to figure out these things. We have to be informed. And so since then, I also requested our city's policies. I actually here. Administrative policies is issued by the city manager, city clerk, or their designees, department level policies, current employee handbooks, personnel policy manuals, current purchasing procurement policies, including P-card policies, and current policies related to ethics, social media, records retention, or public communication. Since I made that request, I was quoted as 263, I think, hold on one second, I have it right here. $261.89 to know what our policies that are governing the city's administration are. I don't know if if my fellow commissioners have access to this, or if you guys have been charged in the past to access information. I would like to know that if you guys have. But what I see here is that the current stuff in place is not adequate. When we talked about that lump sum payment for that public records request for the monthly or quarterly reports, I received a lump sum with anonymous staff 1 hour, staff 2. And I still haven't, well, basically it's against state statute to do it that way. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have the role, the wage for that, including benefits, and then the time it takes for that quote. And it wasn't until I brought that up that we started addressing it this way. But what I'm still frustrated with is, since I paid that $500, I still have not received a breakdown as to how it was actually calculated from city staff. And I've had these conversations with our city manager as to getting that information. And we haven't came to an agreement on how best to get the city policies for this public records request, nor the breakdown of those costs. So right now, for me to be an informed commissioner, I'm looking at spending about $800. Okay. Just up until October. And so now we're looking at, you have to spend, as a commissioner, to know quarterly reports or monthly reports, you have to spend, a month, $500, and then you get it. And I question this process or these procedures for this against our own city charter. Okay. And how can we as commissioners effectively inquire when we are being sort of chilled in how we access information. And so there's not much we can really discuss at the end of the meeting for this, but if you guys have received public record or made public records requests, where you guys billed for that, and if so, how is the billing for that? But I plan on adding this as an agenda item to get a better insight into how we're doing this, because I've spoken with other cities about how they handle public records requests, and this is not how we do this. Okay, this is not how any other city handles their public records requests. And I question, because if this is what a commissioner has to go through to get information, my concern is, how is the public? How many quotes have we provided the public and not provided the correct breakdowns of how these things are? Are we putting ourselves in a position where it can be considered that we're stifling public record access by using unexplainable fees to block that? So that is a big concern I have, and I'll be bringing that up at our next meeting. Chick-fil-A opening was great. Haven't stopped by there yet. Maybe I'll try it tonight. I think tonight's a good night to try it. The fall festival was so packed. So packed. I actually walked over from my apartment because we're blessed enough to have sidewalks that I can just walk all the way down to downtown. And it was so packed. I was so glad to see that there. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Williams.
No comment. I just want everyone to have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving.
Commissioner Ringerson.
I mean, I'd like to ask more questions to Mr. Fletcher, but I think I'll hold off. If this is going to be an agenda item, there's no point for me to ask any questions right now. I want to say I was very excited for the Levitt concert. I think that's fantastic for the community. I think that will also thrive a lot of different areas in our community. I want to again thank the Alachua Police Department, continue to keep us safe. Samantha for coming and talking and giving us information, anybody from the public. I'm also very excited for the Hathcock Center. I think the input and the events that people have attended have been fantastic. The Gainesville for All, definitely going to go visit and check that out for myself. And then also I want to, it's Thanksgiving. So this week, and reminding to be thankful for every little thing that we have from every aspect of our lives. It's also a time to sit and talk. If you're with your family, talking and checking in with everybody and making sure everybody is well. Things are going okay at home. Things are going okay for your children at school. Family members, just listen. And a word I use is seek first to understand, maybe what they're going through, and they may need some help or not know how to answer or ask any questions. But I do feel these times of years start to get stressful going into these holiday seasons for a lot of people. Again, thank you for everything that you guys do, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. The Chick-fil-A ribbon cutting was exceptional. Eat more chicken. So enjoy tonight. Thanks to all the citizens, Mr. Lawrence for his presentation, and to Ms. Fisher. I received information today. Some of you may have known the educator and longtime citizen and principal. I worked with her at Alachua Elementary and at Irby. Dr. Christine Hirsch passed today. So please keep her and family and her husband in your thoughts and prayers. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Be safe. Enjoy family and friends. And always take a moment to say something kind and sweet to your families, to your children, to your grandchildren, to your spouse. Things happen so quickly, and you want to be able to say, this is the best Thanksgiving we've ever had. And with that, motion to adjourn.
It's the best if the Cowboys win. Motion to adjourn.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's go home.